You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
How's everybody doing this week?
I'm a little hoarse. I'm doing pretty good.
Remarkably the same as I was doing last week.
Shh.
My
Keep whispering.
my lawn boy showed up, mowed my lawn.
Trying to make me look bad, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can only get him to come once every 2 weeks, so I've been looking pretty rough for the last week.
Yeah, I did.
I was gonna say, my lawn care man said that you can't let a yard go two weeks. You won't be able to keep it mowed down. You gotta do it every week.
You're his bitch too.
Oh
You gotta flip that.
man, I feel right at home.
Oh, wow.
The boy invited me over for some grilling tomorrow.
Nice.
We're gonna watch. I know we watched this before, but he bought Flashpoint Paradox or something. We hadn't seen it for years. I was like, I remember not liking that, but okay. So we're gonna watch that tomorrow.
So how is it over there all by yourself now?
Oh, nice. Man. Sorry to
Pretty.
It's pretty great. I was illustrating all of the things that were nice about it while he was over here tonight.
And no one has shushed you this evening?
Yeah.
No one. I'm upstairs.
Yeah. Not in the basement. That's a good start.
Nick was standing there eating all my Reese cups, and I was like, you know what? I thought I've been able to leave those out for the last couple weeks. I had got all the freaking ice cream bars in the box, and then didn't have to. What's funny is what started it out. He was complaining how his girlfriend's been eating all his microwave pizzas. I was like, nobody's eating mine. It's great.
Oh, how
all
the
stuff he did to
turntables
me-
have turned.
Yes, exactly right. The tables have turned. It's pretty sweet. I get the front toothbrush spot. I get the towel in the back of the bathroom door.
Yeah. You're living in luxury over there.
I'm finally getting what I'm paying for over here.
Yeah, one day I hope to be out of the laundry room doing this and
Yeah.
back in the regular house.
Yeah.
Nobody's shushing me.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
well,
It's pretty sweet.
we'd planned on doing some talking about some comics, so in the last episode, so I figured we better at least do it in this one.
Let's do it.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
Happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
What's up in the comic world there, Jordan?
I can give you a Fortnite update if you're interested.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, Fortnite issue 2 was out
When was the last time we talked about it? How long's it been?
Fortnite ago. So here it is, 2 weeks later. We recorded the week issue 1 came out, and I was still a little frazzled. So issue 2 has come out. I'm not feeling good. I'm still not feeling good. So a couple of the second printings of number 1 arrived this week as well. But again, I only ordered a handful because I didn't know how many I was going to need, and the orders were locked in, but I didn't order many. I'm like, I do not have enough of these to go around for all the people who called and emailed and texted and stopped in last week.
Right.
Well, funny thing, not a soul has asked for a second printing.
Wow.
So I don't know if people gave up, found them online. I don't know what, but nobody came back looking for that second printing. So now I'm starting to panic have I ordered way too many of the later issues. I ordered way too few of the first few. Had such high demand, I ordered a whole lot of the issues 5 and 6 and all the second printings of 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I might get stuck with a lot of these. Like,
You're gonna be playing Fortnite. You'll have all the freaking bells and whistles. Comic shop owners across the country are invading Fortnite.
Yeah, we're gonna be
all the cool costumes.
And they sent me an email this week of like an FAQ, basically, what's a Fortnite? Like, they kind of explain, here it is, 3 weeks too late, but they kind of explained, here's what Fortnite is, how popular it is. Here's what these mechanics are that these codes are downloading. Here's why people want them. And it was like a basic primer on the very concept of Fortnite. And again, it's like that would have been nice a couple weeks ago.
You mean like the all the people they fired at DC that would do jobs like this to get them out to comic book shops ahead of time?
Well, that's one of
Would
the
have been
articles.
helpful.
That's one of the articles I read this week that was kind of blaming all these firings from DC. That these were all people with industry experience and connections to all these shops, who used to be your inside source of information, who would maybe tell stores this is going to be a big one, or so this is kind of the first thing they're blaming on Warner Brothers slashing senior executives and all these positions, and the flop could be partly due to that because there wasn't as much communication between shops in DC. But they announced the hardcover collection will come out in September, collecting all 6 issues, and it will have all 7 codes in it as well. So if you can wait till September, I found that kind of funny of like, all these people will be strutting into Fortnite in September and people will be like, well, you're wearing last year's fashion, get out of here. Like it'll be a old news by then maybe, but if you want to just wait and get the hardcover, you will also get the codes with that if you have plenty of patience.
Jordan?
Yeah.
What is a Fortnite?
I got an email I can forward you.
I mean, I'm just thinking as you were saying that, like, you said you haven't had anybody come in for issue number 2. Do you think it was just such a bad experience for all those Fortnite players with the not being able to get the first issue? I mean, they've just given up.
That's what I don't know if they just decided, well, it's not for me then, or maybe they found it somewhere else, some other shop or or they paid the exorbitant eBay prices or something. I don't know. But issue 3 is the one with Snake Eyes in it. So I'm guessing if anything can pump up demand, it's Snake Eyes fighting Batman, right?
Right.
I'm just curious, like the reason for the buying of the book, was it to actually read because they were hyped for it, or was it just because of the code?
I think a little. Just anecdotally, my own experience, it seems like it's the code, because several of the phone calls I got were just like, hey, do you got that book with the skin in it? Yeah. I need the skin. Like,
nope, I got one with blood in it and one with
a don't hoard all the skin for yourself. Speaking of super popular things, you remember Spawn?
Heard of him?
I do.
Spawn is blowing up at the moment. Sales on the regular book, issues have gone up to 600% of what orders were before the pandemic. Spawn is now a top 5 title.
Whoa.
He just set a record. One of the action figures made $3.5 million on Kickstarter.
I did see that.
I've had several people add it to the pull list. They're hearing this buzz about what's going on, and a lot of it, it just hit issue 300 a couple months ago. So that there was a bunch of hoopla about that. And I've had people like they're trying to, I stopped collecting at issue 50 or I stopped collecting at issue 100, and they want to see what they've missed. So there's old fans going back to it, and there seems to be new fans wanting to check it out. I've had a couple young people. Because he's been on at least one of the video games. I think Spawn was a character. I don't know.
He was in Mortal Kombat. I think.
Was it Mortal Kombat? So yeah, I remember a younger kid got to know him through that and came looking for the trades and wanted to know more about him. So yeah, it's a little wild.
Compendium came out recently.
Yeah, collecting the first, I think, 50 issues.
50, yeah.
And then I heard like he was expanding it to like 3 titles. There was going to be one that was like Spawn Universe or something.
That's this 2021. He's calling it the Year of Spawn. Todd McFarlane is creating a shared universe of comic creators. He thinks that it can rival Marvel and DC, putting together multi-characters into an interconnected universe, just like the big two. And his quote was, "The simple question is this: DC Comics started a shared universe in the late 30s. Marvel Comics began theirs in the early 60s. So can lightning strike a third time beginning in 2021? I personally do not have the answer to that question right now. But the only way to get an answer to that question is make the attempt in the first place." So the idea, like, he wants it to be, it's going to start with Spawn, but he thinks other creators and characters can kind of add to it. I guess kind of like the early Image universe where it was all kind of taking place in the same area. But the first couple launching, it's going to launch with a one-shot called Spawn's Universe in June. And then that will spin off into the regular Spawn book on August, King Spawn #1. In October, Gunslinger Spawn. And then later in the winter, The Scorched is a team book of like Spawn's supporting characters. So I don't know. Todd McFarlane's a huge success. He's been very good at what he's done over the years. So I don't want to immediately count him out, but I don't know. I would never have bet on a Spawn revival. And again, we got movie rumors constantly and a movie in the works, so that's another feather in his cap. But they're calling 2021. It's the year of Spawn, so get on board, guys.
But not the year that a Spawn movie comes out.
Right.
So how's that the year of Spawn?
It's the 2 years of Spawn.
We'll see.
And I just saw a book announced that I'm pretty excited about. Coming out later this year. It's called All the Marvels. And it's by Douglas Wolk, W-O-L-K. He is a writer, a critic, a journalist, and a teacher. And he was the author of Reading Comics, won an Eisner, just a prose book about the mechanics of comics and how they are read. But the subtitle of this book is Mutants, Monsters, Monarchs, Mystery, the Beginning and End of the Universe, and 27,000 Superhero Comics. So this guy read every Marvel comic. 27,000 plus comics over 60 years, 500,000 pages of interconnected story throughout the decades. And he wrote a book about it. So he's looking at kind of how stories changed in that time, and what were the important factors from the 60s till today, and how that parallels American history and our own pop culture and all the patterns and what that how these reflected our hopes and fears throughout all these decades. So I that's the kind of stuff I find fascinating. So I think that could be a really interesting book.
Yeah, I like reading that kind of stuff. You're not going to read that. This
I'll
is a
listen to the
book.
audio version. I'll listen to the audio version.
Oh, okay, that counts. I'll
Audible.
Only if
I'll
it's like
allow
read
it.
by Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, and it's super extreme.
Extreme.
That's right. At the tail end of the episode, you mentioned you finished the Stan Lee book, right?
Yeah. Yes.
There's a new biography about Stan Lee that I thought sounded really interesting. There wasn't just, there have been 100 books written about Stan Lee, but a lot of them seem very Excelsior. Here's the story of the man who created the world, that kind of thing. And this one seems a little more journalistic and even-handed, less the myth than the actual.
It was very fact-checky. Like it was basically like, here's what was said. Well, here's what was actually happening at that time. Here's so and so. This, it's very, just trying to stick to the reality of what was going on, which was good. It was interesting, but I wasn't like super surprised by anything, and I also didn't seem like a big takedown of Stan, so it was a pleasant read. What was it called? I don't already freaking forgot. True Believer. That's what it was. True Believer. Yeah, it was good. I read that. What's that? Explain that Marvel series that I bought the first issue of.
The Marvels.
The Marvels.
I had a hard time. I'm very good at. I could be a blurb writer for a living because I've been doing it. I've been doing it for 15 years. I send an email every week, and just in a few sentences, I can tell you what a book's about. I had a very hard time with this one because I'm still not sure I can quite explain it, but it's Kurt Busiek, who is a famed writer, has been around for ages, and is very much a superhero writer. He's never, he's that's his genre. He loves superheroes, and he's not out to deconstruct them. And he's a quality superhero writer, and he's a continuity nerd. He loves the little details and all the characters that maybe only appeared in a couple issues and whatever. So this idea, it's an ongoing series, and it's basically, he said, from the beginning of Marvel history till the future, this is a story that encompasses everything. And we're going to have big, marquee A-list heroes and random new heroes and a few really overlooked heroes who appeared years ago and have been forgotten. So he wants to tell one long, continuity-heavy, crazy Marvel Universe story that's sci-fi. In this day they're out in space, and this day it's a crime story and in a back alley somewhere. So it's just his chance to play in the Marvel sandbox, and they seem to be trusting him with just doing whatever he wants and kind of tying in loose strands of continuity throughout the year. So I don't know how to say that very short and succinctly, but that's what it is to me.
That's pretty good. I read that first. I like that. I mean, go ahead and pull it for me. I better say that because I know I picked up the last copy that was on the shelf of the first issue. So,
well, you actually didn't.
Oh, you pulling a fast one.
Because there were a bunch of first appearances in that issue, and that's one of the hot spec books that week. So I was only putting one out at a time.
Oh, okay. You didn't want somebody to come in and buy them all.
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted to do.
I would prefer someone who wants to read the book and get it. I'm a bad retailer, but that's what
I was going to say, Jordan, let me give you a little tip. When it comes to, selling books and making money, don't care about who buys it. Just take the money.
He's a horse of a different color.
I've been reading when there's been a crackdown on that, like the explosion with like the baseball cards or football cards, whatever sports cards they were, or whatever, that retailers were like starting to crack down and like limit things, and like there's this whole speculation crap is killing.
Yeah, freaking! Every time I go to the mattress place, Cliff's only got one mattress out at a time.
Yeah, just whatever one I want to sell, I put that one out.
I'm like, no, I want like 5 of them because there's a pea.
One at a time.
There's a damn pea that is driving me crazy.
The Poobah and the pea. They're on the next Ka-Pow theater. But I'll give you an inside tip here. If there are any speculators listening who are buying comics as an investment, the last DC catalog,
they're not worth anything.
Yeah, they will not make you money. Now, the last DC catalog started having a logo on all the books that had first appearances. It was like a big arrow, like new character, new villain, first appearance. And one of the covers for a book coming out next week literally has on the cover first appearance of blank, whoever it was. So the companies have caught on that you're out there buying tons of first appearances, and they're starting to put out tons of first appearances to boost sales. So they've caught on. So you got maybe try a different
first appearance of Bubbles the Mailman. I was trying to think what else I was reading.
Lock and Key just came out.
Yeah, that was good.
Lock and Key, Sandman, Hell, and Gone.
It's just 2 issues.
Is it just the second one's not even solicited yet, so I don't even know when the second one comes out.
It blows my mind how fast they turn those around, though, because I don't even think he's done drawing it. But as soon as they finish drawing it, they print it and put it out. You know, it's so fast. But the second one's going to be like 84 pages or something, so that will finish the story. But it ties into that first issue of Preludes and Nocturnes. So it's just about. It's basically like that. The previous miniseries was. I am totally blanking on what the name of it was.
Impale Battalions.
Oh, yeah. Impale Battalions Go. It was like where one of the, the family, olden times family Locke that lived in the house, the boy wanted to go use the keys. They had all the keys. He wanted to use them to stop the Nazis or whatever, and they ended up coming back to the house. They came through the anywhere door, and I think he like felt so bad. Oh, his mom got killed, and he felt bad and like used the anywhere key to go when the Titanic was sinking, and he drowned or something. And so in this story, his sister is trying to go to it's a tie-in with the whole Sandman and Hell and all this. So basically she's trying to go get her brother back, so in some way. So she meets up, she's trying to go talk to Sandman while he is trapped in Burris's basement in that first Sandman story. So it's really great. It's really good. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it, and it didn't do anything to alter Sandman's continuity or anything. So it's not like a retcon of anything, but it fit pretty nicely into the established universe.
Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that second one. I don't know when it's going to come, but probably next couple months, I assume.
We also had our area author James Patrick had another book drop, Prison Earth. It's basically a 4-issue series that they just released as a graphic novel. So there's just one shot story.
Oh, okay.
It's just $11.99, so it's a nicely priced
price is
graphic
right.
novel. Yeah. The artist is Riccardo Fascini, and the co-writer is David Winkler, who it was originally a screenplay, and this is the guy. He is a producer on the movie, the Creed movies. And the Mechanic series with Jason Statham. So he's a Hollywood guy and had this big sci-fi action horror story as a screenplay, and hired James and his company 21 Pulp to adapt it into a graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
So that is now on store shelves with my name in it as co-editor.
Ooh.
So I get a professional credit.
Nice.
For catching all his spelling mistakes.
Hey, you're a good editor. Let's see. It's good stuff. Of course, I was reading the new Dragon Age miniseries. Those are always good if you like that. What's the newest thing? What's the Squadron Supreme thing?
That is called Heroes Reborn by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. It is 7 issues. I believe it's weekly. Heroes Reborn, and then there's an 8th issue called Heroes Return. So it's basically an 8-issue miniseries. Blade wakes up. He's the only one who knows something's weird, and there are no Avengers. So they didn't find Captain America in ice. Wakanda is just people have never really heard of it. Tony Stark is still an alcoholic weapons developer who never went overseas and got injured. And the world's heroes are the Squadron Supreme, who are the Justice League type characters in the Marvel setting. And they have a little bit more pretty.
Got the Michael.
Their brand of justice is a little more severe.
That's so shiny.
They will take out threats. They don't leave threats behind bars to escape and cause problems again. So so
what you're saying is they're like the authority before the authority.
Pretty much, yeah. It was asking those questions about violence and how severe our heroes can be.
Yeah, I was flashing around the Squadron Supreme Omni. I'm not supremely educated in them. I've read some stuff with them in it, but I don't remember the whole deal. And this just has just their stuff. I know I haven't read some things about Mark Grunwald lately, and I always loved his Cap run and stuff. And he did that Marvel Encyclopedia I got, and just like knowing, having read how important this Squadron Supreme was to him, I was like, well, I really feel like I need to read that. I would get this series, but it's like I haven't read this yet, so it won't do anything for me yet. Maybe I'll get the trade or something.
But it's a very Age of Apocalypse type thing where one little tweak change. It's everyone loves that in a comic story of like.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, Dr. Doom had in this first issue he steals the Crimson Gem of Sidorak, so now he is like Juggernaut Doom, basically, with his mysticism. So like it's tweaking all your favorite characters into exciting different ways. So
that's get ready. That's the next 3 years of Marvel.
Yeah. And because its namesake is 25 years old, the original Heroes Reborn, mid-90s. The first issue came with a 10-pack of trading cards you could pick up for free, so that you get some retro trading cards with your Heroes Reborn.
Oh.
The last book I had was a fun little one-shot called Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters.
Oh, yeah, I was interested in that. Yeah.
Oh, I think I did see something on this and forgot about it.
Yeah, it was a nice one of those. That's right up our alley, filling in a blank in this universe there.
So the 4 Star Wars monthlies right now, Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, Darth Vader, and Dr. Aphra, are all taking place post-Empire. When they kind of all rebooted, they all are taking place in the same timeline. Luke just found out Vader. Han just got frozen, so it's a very fertile storytelling time.
Yeah.
But those years between Empire and Jedi.
Yeah, that has already been covered in extreme detail with Dash Rendar and Prince whatever his name is.
Sizor. Yeah, Sizor.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Go on.
So this one's nailing down even more microscopically.
Okay.
It is, so Empire ends with Boba Fett walking out with Han Solo, and the idea of this story is before he could get him to Jabba, word got out that Solo's on the market and people are going to come for him, basically. So and a little bit like the Mandalorian, he's going to have, he's trying to get to Jabba's palace, but he keeps getting interrupted on his trip there.
Right.
And so there's going to be, this was just a one-shot kicked off the story. That was Charles Soule writing and Steve McNiven on the art. And then there's going to be a mini-series called War of the Bounty Hunters that has Luke Ross on the art. And then that's going to tie into all of the other 4 all the other 4 titles. So there's one main mini-series, and then all the other stories are going to have that same idea of people looking for Han or trying to stop Boba Fett or something in that brief timeline.
It does sound interesting. It's all of that though. All of that sounds good. It's just I can't buy all that stuff. Like I am interested in all of those. Mm-hmm. So it's tough.
It'll have all the bounty hunters from Forlom to Zuckuss.
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee that both of those suckers.
Man, you're pretty good at writing blurbs too.
Yeah. I guarantee they are the ones in there going after him. So
yeah, there are one shots. There's a Bosk one shot, an IG-88 one shot, a Jabba the Hutt one shot. So yeah, it's all summer long. We're gonna have War of the Bounty Hunters. Yeah. But the big thing from this Alpha issue, he's in an all black Mandalorian suit. He has to go. He's like this. Yeah, people recognize this suit, and so somebody give him some, like.
So if I paint it black, nobody.
Yeah, so he spray paints it. He goes Snake Eye style and spray paints it all black. So it's the exact same suit, just.
No, it should have been a silent issue. That would be awesome. That's pretty cool.
More toys.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of variant toys.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll move on here. Did the comics.
Well, since we were just talking some Star Wars, we got to talk a little bit, at least about the first episode, because some of us didn't watch the second one yet, of The Bad Batch.
Oh, throw me some Bill Murray in here.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Some Bill Murray.
You just did it.
Yeah.
You just did it. You just put it in there. You didn't even know it.
Oh. Okay.
Star Wars. Star Wars. So yeah, The Bad Batch.
They call themselves the Bad Batch. The Republic will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire!
Yeah, it premiered on May the 4th. That was the big deal on Star Wars Day this year. So,
yeah.
You mentioned that you weren't excited about this, but now you're into it.
Yeah, when they were in the final season of the Clone Wars for a couple episodes, I thought they were fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I felt they were pretty generic. And I still think like their names are pretty generic.
Yeah, I have a problem with the names. Yeah, they're not Star Wars names.
They might as well be like Zip Zap.
Yeah.
Tough Guy. It's just like that, but I will say that they were fine then, but this first two episodes, and you guys have just seen the first, I won't spoil anything. Yeah. I'll say that in these first two episodes, I had the same reaction I did when I watched the beginning of Rebels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Within one episode, I was totally into this group.
Yeah.
Like one episode is all it took for me to be invested in this.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because the first episode was really good. It started off with that very traditional, we see the Clone Wars in the red, which was something they started with the last season of Clone Wars, going from the yellow to the red, signifying the Empire coming. And then that burns away to the Bad Batch logo, which I thought was pretty cool. And then we get the traditional Tom Kane voiceover, which really surprised me. Because unfortunately, Tom Kane had a stroke a few months ago.
Right.
And that pretty much ended his long voiceover career. So this must have been something he had recorded, some time ago. Now, I haven't watched the second episode. Is he in the second episode?
I don't even
voiceover.
I don't remember.
Didn't notice it.
I don't remember. But the award goes to D. Bradley Baker. Like, not enough credit is given to this guy doing the clone voices.
Yeah,
like,
he is. Excellent.
He is a king, man. That guy is killing it.
Yeah.
I swear, I don't hear enough accolades for this. To do that.
To do that many characters so differently, but yet they all sound the same.
Yeah. It's great. He's great at what he does.
So, in the first episode, like I said, overall it was great. There was a little backlash, a little retconning from the Kanan comic book that had come out like a couple years ago. that kind of
the Kanan canon.
Yeah, the Kanan canon. That it had told part of the story. You know what happened to him and his Jedi. Depa Balaba. She was in some of the scene in the prequel movies, the live action. But it told one story, but then this kind of gave a different version of that story. There were some differences.
I don't know what the version in the comics was.
I kind of looked it up. In the original comic, when Order 66 happens and the clones attack them, it was a story where it took place.
I remember when that happens on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, Kashyyyk. But when that happens, it went from like day to night, going from the comic to the show. Her lightsaber changes color from the comic to the show, and those were the big noticeable. Like Star Wars nerd was,
So that seems weird that they would not.
Well,
have those details right.
It's gotten a little backlash from people, still pissed off about Disney doing away with the EU because they couldn't keep it all straight. And now they're saying, oh, look at Disney. They're doing the same thing. They're not paying any attention, not keeping all their ducks in a row. Now they're retconning. So it's gotten some criticism. I'm whatever with it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like,
well, I haven't read that stuff anyway, but I think it was a mistake to ever just say that all the comics are canon and all this.
I do too.
George, don't bother saying that. Don't make promises you can't keep.
Right. George had said at one point, it was made a big deal that, well, the shows and the movies are canon, but everything else is just entertainment. So if you want to go with George,
price of admission, folks, it was all worth it.
If you want to go with George Lucas and stick with what he said, then just do that.
Anyway, yeah, it's basically an Order 66 plot, which is a great kicking off point where we get to see what, that's why this Bad Batch is created, is so they can tell this story that they've already told a little bit with Rex and stuff. And now they can say, hey, what if a whole group of them, or almost a whole group of them, is unaffected by this? What will they do? And I just love the stuff with Crossfire and all that. And then whoever this Omega is, if this is someone I'm supposed to know it is, don't tell me. I don't know what this character is supposed to.
Well, I certainly have a theory.
Well, I don't want to hear it.
That matches a lot of other theories out there. So
yeah, I'm sure there is, but right now I'm still pure.
Okay.
I don't know what.
So according to the show, all we know is she is a female clone.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that we know that, I mean, I'm not naive enough to not think there is something to it. Mm-hmm. There's a purpose for this clone was made. What is ultimately she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But
she's a Palpatine.
Yeah, that will be, of course. And that will be revealed in the show. And it's a pretty long season. I mean, it's going to go to July.
Yeah.
So you're going to get,
a lot of stories.
A lot of stuff in here. The second episode was a good episode. It's only a half hour, but it was a go to a location, tell a story, but it was very, very interesting and move the story forward. So
they've done a good job as far as the show goes with throwing some Easter eggs in there and keeping bringing up past things that happened years and years and years ago when they were originally making that Clone Wars series. Bringing
that
back
was a
characters.
question I had about this, is watching that first episode. Like, I really enjoyed and loved it too, but I almost felt like you needed to go back and watch the Clone Wars animated show first before watching this.
Well, I had just a few months ago watched the entire Clone Wars series and the entire Rebel series to get ready for the final season of the Clone Wars, then watch that, and now this. So I'm up to date.
But I think, Michael, to make it hit on your point, I think if you just went back and watched the last season of Clone Wars, you would be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But yeah, other than their dumb names, Tech and Hunter.
Tech just makes me cringe. Just what a name, Tech.
Yeah. And why does Hunter have? He's got like a full like mullet, lush, lavish hair.
Yeah, I like that. I like his look. Like he's just freaking Rambo.
He looks like Rambo. Yeah.
Got the freaking knife in his thing. I mean, it's cool though. I just hate his name, Hunter.
Hunter.
Well, I was thinking of like the guy from Metal Gear Solid when I saw.
Yeah, he looks like Solid Snake. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
But why does he have all that hair? And then like Tech,
because they all
male pattern baldness. Like
it's because they're trying to make all these guys that are the same genetic code different. They're like, how can they make them different? That's the neat part of it. And what Echo is all Lobot. Yeah, Lobot cyborged out.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, the Clone Wars as a show, Filoni did a really good job of showing that was the improvement from the original prequel movies. Is the clones, they gave them names and personalities to show that they were individuals. They wanted to be individuals. And then in this show, at this point here, they're now Order 66 happens, and the Empire has taken over their brains, and now they're becoming more. They're going by numbers, and they're all in sync and taking orders, and they're slowly taking away all the personality from the clones.
That is one thing I thought of watching that first episode of when I'm not going to remember any of the guys' names, but the head honcho of the Imperial, whatever his name was, when he was Tarkin, when he was talking about the production of the clones with the people that make the clones, I immediately thought of, because he's complaining about how much they cost, and I could see, because there's that running joke about the clones or the stormtroopers not being able to hit anything. So basically he renegotiates a deal with him, and they end up giving them subpar clones for you
get what you pay for.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty entertaining. It cracks me up in the show how quickly everything changes, because we go from like, there's just all of a sudden all this Imperial stuff. Like, did they just have Imperial stickers ready to go to slap on everything?
Magnets?
Yeah, magnets. So.
Hell yeah.
Anyways.
It's good. It's as good as you can hope for. It's not like, this is the best thing ever, but you want some Star Wars content, this will scratch that itch. It's good.
And it takes, like we said, it takes place in a time period in Star Wars that we don't have a lot of stories.
Yeah, we want to see more of that. We finished up the Clone Wars, getting into that. It's like we want more of that.
Yeah, before Luke and Leia stuff, in between, in between Anakin and Luke and Leia. So we're getting those stories now. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I will say Disney cannot freaking lose these days with all the stuff they keep putting out. I mean, seriously, it's all so good.
Yeah. Just recently, they, a couple things that Disney Plus, they announced Loki. The series has been moved up to June 9th, so they're going to release it a couple days early. Just today, they announced Muppet Haunted Mansion, I guess it's a new Halloween special coming this fall. Taking the Muppets and, arguably the most popular ride in their theme parks, the Haunted Mansion, mashing them together and making something great, I'm sure. Pixar's Luca is coming out, Disney Plus, June 18th. So yeah, I mean, you're right. They have a lot. They just keep, producing content, and it's all worth it. I just watched yesterday, discovered that new Simpsons short on Disney Plus called The Force Awakens from its nap. Did anybody catch this?
I didn't realize it was even new. I thought it was just something they were putting that had already been around.
Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just hit Disney Plus. I'm not sure. It's the first time I had seen it, but yeah, Maggie goes on a quest for her lost pacifier. Marge drops her off at Jabba the Hutt's Jedi preschool. So, and it's just full of a lot of fun Star Wars references and jokes in there. So, but it was good.
Did everybody watch the behind the scenes Falcon and Winter Soldier
assembled?
Marvel Studios assembled making of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I haven't watched it yet. I almost clicked on it last night, but instead I watched that Star Wars thing a couple times.
It's interesting. I don't think it was as insightful as the one they did for Wanda, where
that's
they
what I had heard.
The actors so much, but a lot of the effects work and stunt work that was. I really love they call it the pre-visualization. Basically, they film stuff with stunt people and a bunch of really cheap animation that looks like a PlayStation 1 video game. Of like how okay, he's gonna punch this way and he's gonna do a backflip, and it's all the stuff they do to just see how it flows, and they showed a lot of that, like the truck chase scene and the helicopter, the guys with the aerial team jumping out of the helicopter. It's like to see these really janky special effects of this huge Marvel thing was really fun, but it had some neat stuff, and they talked directly about it had Anthony Mackie talk about, I'm a black man from the South, and this is my story, and like talking about, we're going to talk about this stuff and how the show, went, tackled these issues head on, and so it was, again, not a world of new information, but some interesting and fun behind the scenes stuff. And Daniel Bruhl seemed really hyped to bring Zemo back. He was like, I felt like I was just scratching the surface of this character, and I really wanted to know more about him from Civil War. So he was really, really happy to get a costume as well. So.
Heck yeah! I've been watching some stuff. I watched a show. This, I messaged you guys about it, but it was finishing up on like a free on Prime there, but it's a Showtime show. Second season had just come out, and it's called Couples Therapy. And it's basically just a therapist that does couples therapy, and they set up cameras in her office and have couples that have agreed to have their anyway, couples have agreed to, talk about, allow their stuff to be filmed, and there
are couples that are communicating only through text messages.
Right. Yeah.
People who need to work on their communication skills.
Right. Some of them, maybe they don't hang out on the same floor. Anyway, it's really good. It's kind of riveting in the fact that it is couples sitting there saying the quiet part out loud. And it's just like, I can't believe they're saying this. And they're being filmed. They know they're being filmed. And it's I mean, if you've ever been in any, I don't know, anyone I think would enjoy this, but it's just like, it definitely, you feel like you're getting therapy. Like, it's just people really bearing their souls, and it's kind of neat. They show a few different couples the first season, and they have new couples the second season. I haven't seen the second season yet, but it's
if they bring back all the same couples, it would prove that therapy's not working, and it would really shoot a hole in the show.
They basically finished their therapy with her in the first season, but it's one of the couples they show during their therapy. Them in the first episode, they're like, hey, them just being like, I think it's over. They finally come to the conclusion. You can tell she's like, doesn't know exactly how to handle it. And then they flash back and go through the rest of the show, starting at the beginning of therapy with them. And they like show up, hey, how you doing? It's like, and at some point they're ready to break up. But what's neat is she goes and she has like her mentor that she goes to, and is kind of getting a little therapy about giving therapy, and just like dealing with the fact of how much control she has over their lives. And if if I tell them to stay together and keep trying, is that even the right thing to do? Or not everybody's meant to stay together and things, but it's really great. Yeah, the reason I'm talking about it is because I think, one of the most popular shows, I've only seen a little bit of it, but popular shows with women is that 90 Day Fiance. People watch that, they're just addicted to it, and watch these couples with manufactured problems. Like it is ridiculous the stuff they argue about just to get to the next commercial, and to keep you coming back week after week. And I think what they want from that show, what they think they're getting, they get in spades with this show. It's actual problems and people sinking their teeth into relationships, and it's so much more satisfying to see real people talking about real problems and not just commercializing everything. So I don't know. I thought it was great. I can't wait I'm waiting to get a free trial Showtime here when I know that I'll be able to watch the whole second season in one swath. So it's good. I'm telling you, it's very interesting. The lady's really talented therapist, and the people are interesting. And the other thing I told you guys I'm hate watching.
Yeah.
Is Friday Night Lights. I never watched Friday Night Lights. Did you guys watch that?
No,
that was super popular show. That was lots of people love that show. So
we watched it. We watched I don't even like football, and we watched all of it.
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah,
I had never watched it, and it just seemed. But I like sports shows. We got Riverdale is the perfect example of it. You got a little sport stuff here and there that makes no sense, and some ridiculous routine drama with 20-somethings. That's what this is also, But I was telling you guys, I realized partway through the first season that what was bothering me about it is that they're trying to improvise. They were trying that what was being popularized at the time in the mid-aughts was that mumblecore stuff where you have a script, but just say whatever you want, say it how you want. And these people are all terrible at it. The only one good at it, and that's keeping me watching, is Jesse Plemons.
I thought you were going to say Connie Britton.
No, she's terrible. She's one of the worst at it. They try to play off each other. Everybody talks over each other, and they repeat what each other's saying. Say, I'm really mad. Well, I'm really mad too. And that's why they just can't think of what they want to say. They're just, it's very grating.
Yeah.
But
I just never took the time to watch any of that show. I remember the original movie, but the show was not really anything like the movie, right?
I don't think so. I don't think it was related at all, other than it's about high school football.
Yeah.
It's not a bad show. I can see why it's just the whatever drama stuff people keep coming back for, and the high school football, are they going to win the state?
Mm.
But it's just another 90210 type thing.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I'm hate watching it.
Yeah, it's no Varsity Blues.
It's trying to be Varsity, but it's very Varsity Blues. Yes.
It lasted several seasons, didn't it?
It's like 5 seasons, I think. Yeah.
The TV I watched this week was a book.
Ooh.
Elmore Leonard's City Primeval, High Noon in Detroit. This is the novel they're supposedly turning into a new series at FX from the producers and writers of Justified. And there's been a rumor that Timothy Oliphant might return as Raylan Givens, his character from Justified. So I love Elmore Leonard books, and this one I didn't have, so I picked it up. I wanted to see what it was about. It's crime story about a homicide detective, Raymond Cruz, which is a problem because I don't know how you could have a Raymond and a Raylan on the same show, but they'll have to work that out. But it's very of its time. The little blurb. Again, speaking of blurbs, when a psycho killer gets off, a lady lawyer gets pushed and a cop gets mad. It's a showdown.
Odin doesn't like a lady lawyer.
It's a lady lawyer. And it's very much that, like, she's a tough as nails lawyer, but she's got a soft heart, and he's gonna win her over. But so it's the plot's a little bit dated like that, but he's a good this detective. He's a good character. Has some really Raylan Givens vibes as far as like, he'd rather just handle it with a shootout, at the end. But it was a good book. I could see it being a serialized story with a different setting. Justified was Kentucky. This would be, inner city Detroit. So let's hope that gets made.
Michael, what was that show you were watching tonight with the women?
Yes. Guys, did you know that there is a word that surpasses forever? It is called five-ever because it's for a very long time.
Wow.
If you actually look, like I looked this up, it is actually in the dictionary, five-ever, because it is longer than forever. But anyway, there is a...
Not the real dictionary.
No, I think it's in the real dictionary. But anyway, there is a new show on Peacock called Five-Ever.
Gonna be famous five-ever, 'cause forever's too short, too short. Gonna be famous together, 'cause that's one more than together. So what are you waiting? Five girls, five-ever.
And it is a joke play comedy. Tina Fey is the executive producer, and it's like a Spice Group girl that had their heyday, and they're trying to come back together and do it over again, and kind of the hijinks and stuff that happens with it. It's also got Sarah Bareilles as one of the five Evas. There's only four of them because one died.
You could be the fifth Eva
in a infinity pool accident, evidently.
Wow. Is this like Working Moms?
Wow, that is so... Wow. An infinity pool accident in five-ever. That is so on the nose there.
It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. It's funny. I've laughed a couple times. I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying it. Whatever.
Yeah, I like some of those shows. End up being pretty good. Michael's on the Working Moms bandwagon too.
I love Working Moms.
Yeah.
I prepped for
in general.
I prepped for five-ever by listening to the first couple Spice Girl albums the other day. I'm sad to say.
In one ear.
Michael, did you ever watch the show Dave?
Hulu.
About the rapper
FX.
Lil Dicky?
Yeah, well, I watched the first couple episodes, and I think I just never went back to it. The weeks we were obsessed with that show is you were not involved at that time, and I was like, this is seemed like such a Michael show that he would love.
Michael, it's one of my favorite shows ever.
Forever? Is it five-ever?
I'm not kidding. Like
season 2 is coming up here very soon.
If someone asked me to
get hyped again.
If someone asked me to make a list, I thought of this at one point, but I couldn't come up with think of a bunch of them. But I thought, what would be like my 10 favorite TV episodes ever?
Episode 9 of Dave.
Episode 9 of Dave would be dangerously near the top of one of my favorite episodes of television ever.
I just rewatched episode 9 like a week and a half ago. Just out of the blue, I was like, man, that season 2 is coming
good.
up. Yeah, Michael, you seriously, in the next couple
I
weeks,
need to go back and
you need to finish that. Go back and rewatch season 1. It's not that many episodes, only 10 episodes.
It's worth it to get to the 9th episode, and just that is a perfect episode of television.
But you'll love it.
I gotta export
you will
this.
love
All
it.
right.
That was high art. Oh
That's my homework for next episode.
That's right.
Oh,
Great work.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta go.
Can I use this on my album as an interlude?
Dave.
I'm gonna tell you guys, I finished The Shield, and it was great. It was excellent from beginning to end. It's very 2000s, like I said. It's a little dated, but it's the best cop show probably that I've ever seen. And the ultimate fate of Vic Mackey is worth watching the show for, to just see what happens to this guy at the end. Like,
he gets promoted to the commish.
Yes, he has to grow back in the sides of his hair and be the commish. It's good.
All right. I'm gonna wrap it up.
Oh wait!
Oh.
Last thing, I watched first 2 or 3 episodes of Dicktown that Jordan told us about. I never heard of it.
I had completely forgotten it, but you hyped the Kid Detective movie.
Yeah.
And when you talked about it, I'm like, that's such a perfect idea for a movie. But it was gnawing at the back of my head. But it's so perfect. I swear I've heard it before. And I couldn't place where I had heard that same plot. But it was a short that I mentioned it when it first premiered years ago, and I've stuck with it. It's called Cake on FX. And every season's maybe 10 episodes, and they're all short animated things, weird, like psychedelic animation, or very funny animation, or some live action shorts each season. And there's a lot of hit and miss, but each episode there's at least something worth watching. And last season it had this show from John Hodgman, the comedian, and the character's drawn just like him and voiced by John Hodgman. Yeah. And that's the same idea. He was a detective as a teenager and was really good at it, and he thought he could stick with it the rest of his life, and it didn't really work out.
I like the very first episode. He's hired by a pre-crisis cosplayer. I was like, okay, this is fun.
So that show, it was on Hulu then? You could get that?
Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes. They're it's that whole first 10 episodes is all there is, I think, and you can watch them all. I'm gonna burn through them here.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll talk about it maybe in a couple weeks here, but I just caught the first couple episodes of season 3 of Shrill, Hulu original.
Yep. It's on the front page right now.
Yeah, 80 Bryant series. Just I'm this far into it, I figure I might as well see how it ends up. So, and the first couple episodes were good. So she's very awkward, but very funny and insightful and intelligent character. So we'll see how it ends up.
Cool, guys, we did it. We did it again. Get over here!
Shh.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you're tough now.
You gotta leave the safety the green screen sometime tonight.
Yeah.
I'm the toughest Michael K. Easton.
I am Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
Death by forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.